My name is Paul. I'm a product manager on S3. Welcome to day 4 of Pi Week. This day is completely dedicated to serverless applications. I get to give the kickoff today, so I'm going to talk for about 20 minutes about what we're going to see today. This is the agenda that I've got for you guys, actually. I'm going to give you a quick overview of kind of how we at AWS and in S3 in particular think about serverless. I'm going to talk about S3 specifically for serverless applications, some of the characteristics that make S3 a nice fit for serverless apps, as well as some of the features that we have that are built specifically to enable event-driven applications. Then we have a launch to talk about that is just rolling off the line as we speak, that we are super excited about. Can't wait to talk to you about that. And then I'll circle back and give you just a quick overview of the rest of day 4 of Pi Week. So thank you all for sticking with us all week. It's been an awesome week so far. We have one more day to go, and let's get started. So we launched Lambda about 6 years ago, and we continue to be humbled by just how many people have adopted it. Hundreds of thousands of customers have built applications that already drive trillions of invokes per month, and Lambda continues to grow at a phenomenal rate. Now, Lambda may have started serverless, but it's the community that has turned serverless into a revolution in how we build the cloud. I've only been at AWS for about 3 years now, but even over that short period of time, it's been really amazing to watch. So as we kick off day 4 of Pi Week here, a day dedicated entirely to serverless applications, I want to say a big thank you to the serverless community for all the feedback that you provide. Everything that we launched is shaped by your feedback, and we're really looking forward to hearing from you on our launch today. So why are customers adopting the serverless programming model? Fundamentally, it's because the needs of modern businesses are changing, and a serverless strategy fits these new needs. Today, customers tell us more than ever that they want to be more agile so they can innovate and respond to change faster. They need to build applications quickly, and they need these apps to scale to potentially millions of users, have global availability, manage petabytes, if not exabytes of data, and respond in milliseconds. They want to do all this while lowering total costs, and they want built-in, continuously improving security. Now, as usual, a tall order from our customers, and many have turned to a serverless architecture to deliver on these requirements. Architecturally, one thing that is common across serverless applications is they follow the design ideas of the internet and of the web, small pieces loosely joined. All these applications are modular, composed from multiple AWS services and customer-developed components. It's why we're so focused on delivering lots of integrations in Lambda, and EventBridge, and API Gateway, and in S3. We want to make it easy to build new applications and functionality through loose coupling of other components. Customers tell us that this architecture helps them to move from idea to market faster. It eliminates operational overhead so teams can release quickly, get feedback, and iterate. They also tell us that total costs are lower. With a pay-for-value billing model, you never pay for over-provisioning, and resource utilization is optimized on your behalf. And there are a bunch of great scaling stories out there where serverless applications have very effectively adapted at scale. With technologies that automatically scale from 0 to peak, you can adapt to customer needs faster than ever. Now, while many customers associate serverless with Lambda, they're actually serverless services at all layers of the stack. And while Lambda offers many key advantages for our customers, it's really when all these other components surround Lambda that customers start to get much bigger benefits. When messaging, orchestration, storage, and compute are integrated, the serverless model gets even more powerful, and this is really when you start to see big gains in agility, performance, and scalability. Now, of course, this is Pi Week, so we're going to focus in on S3 in particular and some of the features and characteristics that make it super useful when you look to build a serverless application. Now, there are a lot of good reasons to run S3, and as an S3 fan, I would absolutely be more than happy to stand up here all day and talk to you about that. but we've already had 3 days of Pi Week content. So you can go look all that up, all the sort of cool capabilities that are built into the service. What I'm really going to focus on is why I think S3 is awesome for serverless. So when I talk to customers about S3 for serverless, I generally talk through 4 characteristics of S3 that make it fit pretty well with these apps. First, with S3, you're never managing servers. You interact with the S3 API, and we manage servers in the background. You never have to worry about landing nodes in the right places, or about keeping operating systems patched, or about any of the other concerns that you need to keep an eye on when you're managing infrastructure. We handle all of that. And this includes scaling. With S3, you never have to worry about whether you've got enough storage provisioned. We worry about that as well. This is an awesome fit with serverless applications because it removes the storage as a factor as your app scales. Serverless tech like Lambda deliver this characteristic for compute, and S3 does the same with storage. Additionally, S3's regional model means that data is automatically spread out across many physical servers in multiple availability zones in the region. This builds multi-data center high availability into the storage without you having to do anything. You get this characteristic right out of the box. And finally, with S3, you only pay for what you use. You never have to pre-provision storage capacity, and this means that you never pay for resources that are provisioned but otherwise unused. So these are some of the core characteristics of S3 that make it a nice fit for your serverless applications. But in addition to these traits, though, S3 also has some specific features that really help in serverless architectures. Specifically, we've got a few features that allow you to emit and trace events based on what's going on storage. Now, the first feature that I want to talk about here, sort of in this event-driven space, is S3 event notifications. Event notifications notify you when certain events happen in your S3 bucket. S3 event notifications are designed to be delivered at least once, and they typically arrive within seconds. You can send events to multiple destinations. They can be published to an SNS topic, sent to an SQS queue, or even trigger a Lambda function. Also, the events themselves carry no additional charges. Event notifications are a super powerful building block. They're widely deployed by customers in production today, and they power a ton of serverless event-driven applications. Now, we launched event notifications back in 2014, but we've continued to iterate on the feature ever since then based on your feedback. Specifically, customers have asked us to fire events based on additional S3 API calls. And as we've heard that feedback, we've broadened support for notifications to 12 of S3's APIs. We started with object creation APIs, and these are the most commonly used events by customers. These events are often used to trigger post-processing workflows or other actions that customers want to take against an object once it lands in S3. We also added delete events, which can be used to update an app when an object is removed from storage. And we added restore events, which customers can use to initiate workflows when data comes back into S3 from Glacier. Most recently, we've added event notifications based on events generated by our replication systems. These replication events allow you to track and respond to potential issues that may come up in your disaster recovery process. We're always looking for new use cases that we can unlock here. So if you have ideas about what else we should be eventing on, please reach out and let us know. So that is kind of event notifications in a nutshell. And as I mentioned, many customers have these deployed in production applications. Now, one thing that we heard from these customers who are running serverless apps on top of S3 is that this new model requires new visibility into what the app is doing and how it's performing. So at re:Invent last year, we introduced AWS X-Ray for S3. X-Ray traces user requests as they travel through your entire application. It aggregates the data generated by individual services like Lambda, EC2, S3, and the many resources that make up a serverless app. Then it links all these together and provides you an end-to-end view of how your app is performing. X-Ray generates service maps that let you see relationships between S3 and other AWS services and resources in your application in near real time. These service maps help you to detect where high latencies are occurring and then to drill down into the specific services and paths impacting application performance. Okay, so event notifications and X-Ray, these are the two core features that we've got in S3 that are specifically built for event-driven serverless applications. That's, of course, in addition to all the fundamental characteristics of S3 and S3's underlying features that make it generally a good fit for serverless. Well, I should say these are the two core features for serverless applications that are built into S3 until today. Today, we are beyond excited to announce general availability of S3 Object Lambda, a new feature for Amazon S3. With S3 Object Lambda, you can add your own code to S3 GET requests to modify and process data as it is returned to an application. For the first time, you can use custom code to modify the data returned by standard S3 GET requests, to filter rows, dynamically resize images, redact confidential data, and much, much more. What we heard from customers who were trying to build for these sorts of data transformation use cases was that they were typically faced with a choice between one of two options. One option was just to create multiple derivative copies of their data. This way they could provide a copy of the data to each individual stakeholder that needs one, transformed to the specific needs of the calling application. As a result, though, they'd end up with a bunch of extra copies to go create and manage and track and all that stuff. Another option that customers consider to build these sorts of transformation use cases is just to stand up proxies in front of S3 and then process data on demand. This isn't ideal either, since you end up with a bunch of infrastructure to go build and manage. We thought that we could figure out a better way, which is why we started working on Object Lambda. With Object Lambda, data processing is powered by AWS Lambda functions. So your code runs on infrastructure that is fully managed by AWS. This eliminates the need to create and store derivative copies of your data or to run expensive proxies, all with no changes required to your applications. Here's how it works. First, you stand up an Object Lambda access point. This new type of access point is the S3 endpoint at which you will point your application. You configure that with a Lambda function, and you point it to an underlying bucket using a standard S3 access point. Now that Lambda function is provided by you. We've got some examples in the documentation to get you started, and we'll show a demo later today. But fundamentally, you have control over how your data transformation is going to work. So when a request is made to the Object Lambda access point, what it does is that it turns around and invokes that Lambda. The Lambda, in turn, pulls data out of S3, processes it according to the code that you have provided, and then streams it back to your application. That processing happens totally in line with the request. So as far as your application is concerned, it just did a standard GET against a normal S3 access point, but it got back a customized result. We think that is actually pretty cool. So at launch, we'll support GET requests. So any other request that comes in will simply route around the Lambda function at no additional charge to you. So that, in a nutshell, is how Object Lambdas work. Before I let you go, I wanted to just put up a quote from Stephen Manley, who's the CTO at Druva. Druva is a great customer and partner of AWS and was one of our beta testers for this feature. I just thought his take was interesting, specifically on the call out around bringing compute closer to storage to help customers get even more value from their data. That's something that we're super passionate about, and we're excited to see all of the ways that builders come up with to do just that. So that launch is rolling out right now as we speak. I just got a text here as I was talking to you that to let me know that the documentation is now live. So we've got sessions coming later today that will dive much deeper into the future, including a live demo of S3 Object Lambda in action. In the meantime, here are a few resources for you to go check out so that you can come to those sessions with a bunch of questions for the builders that actually put the feature together. We have a What's New post that should be coming shortly here in the next few minutes. Same with a news blog that will have a bunch of screenshots and examples and a very sort of in-depth write-up on what the feature looks like. The product pages should be up soon. That'll include some video content and FAQs and a description of the feature as well. As I said, I just got a text that the documentation is now live, so you can go see all the details about the specific APIs that are introduced as a part of the Object Lambda feature. And of course, if starting with the documentation is not your thing, if you're one of those builders that prefer to just go build, the feature is available now in the S3 management console for you to go play with. This is what day 4 looks like. Day 4 of Pi Week. Again, it's a day of serverless. After this session, we're going to talk about the best compute for your storage, sort of a getting started presentation with S3 and Lambda. Then we've got a live coding exercise coming up after that, which is going to be super cool. Then sort of a general building serverless applications session after that. Then we'll bring in our cousins from the EFS team to talk about accelerating data sharing with serverless containers. And then later in the day, we have 2 sessions on Object Lambda itself, where we will drill down much deeper into than sort of what I took you through today. I'll give you some examples, some code snippets, just a much deeper dive, some additional sort of views from customers and partners who are in the beta program, and then after that, one of the Object Lambda engineers will come on and give you guys a nice actual live demo of Object Lambda. It's a live demo on launch day is a bold move, and we're excited for that session later today. So that is what I got. Thank you all so much for joining us on day 4 of Pi Day.